Daniel, Import Life Media, and I got a very, very special episode for you today. All right, it deals with Irwindale Speedway. Corruption, possible money from behind closed doors, things are being done without permits and licenses. Check this out. Just when you thought Irwindale Speedway was shut down, closed, and done for good, it might possibly be not. Keep watching.
Yo!
Man, these cars are crazy.
Did you see that?
So as far as we knew, December 21st of 2024, that was the last opening day of Irwindale Speedway. And after that, the company that bought them out was to take it over, demolish it, and build something new on top of that land. But what we're finding out is not only will they probably not be able to do so, they're jumping through hoops and doing a bunch of things like that is not all by the book. It's not all on the up and up. So first, let me introduce my guests, Mr. Eric Stiles and Kenneth Whitfield. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for reaching out to me and come on to my platform to share what you guys have going on. Because I can say that from the couple phone calls and messages that we've had amongst each other, some of the things that you guys were telling me and some of the stuff that you guys were uncovering is not only huge and controversial, but is very important and much needed that a lot of people like myself, I didn't know about, that we do need to know what's going on. So I do want to say thank you guys for both coming out and sharing your story and what you guys have been finding out on my platform. So first and foremost, Eric, what's your background in terms of the car community, car culture, and how did you even get involved with the whole Irwindale Speedway and what's going on with it now?
Well, I grew up in the neighborhood. I used to go there. I learned how to drive around the circle track when I was younger. When I was a kid, back in the day, my father used to take me over there. Just learned how to drive a race car and stuff back in the day. I know all about mechanic work at a parts store right now. And I help out my uncle, does racing, a lot of racing communities right now. Helps out a lot of people in the community.
So you pretty much grew up going to Irwindale and then the whole, I guess, growth of it from different cars, different eras and things like that. And from you selling parts and stuff, working at a store, you've helped out a lot of the racers keep their cars on the road and get their cars ready.
Yeah.
So literally you're on the ground, 10 toes down, involved in the community, involved with the overall greatness of the Speedway.
Yes.
Perfect. And Mr. Whitfield, Kenneth, how about yourself?
Kenneth Whitfield, aka KW. Some people know me because of Brotherhood of Street Racers. We used to have Formula One over this way back in the day. They helped keep me out of gangs in South Central LA where I grew up, West Side. Growing up, so I've always been a car person. My dad was a car person, had a 64 Impala.
Classic.
Had a GTO back in the day, had a 280Z back in the day. And I think he fostered that in me to keep me away from the gangs. About me being involved in the community, I'm also part of E-Block Mobs. A lot of people know about us online, so my way of giving back to community is taking young men like himself, getting them to stop doing these street takeovers. You know what I mean? It helped a lot of people in the community from LA, NorCal. We're able to get that car on the drag strip.
I guess growing up, you either were or on the pathway of being a knucklehead, and in a sense, dealing with cars and the culture, it pretty much kind of saved you. And now with the organization that you're part of, it's to kind of give back and give kids another hobby or a passion that they can focus on instead of out just doing nothing with no goals.
Well, the thing with like our club, I mean, street racing is going to always probably be there, right? But I want to let them know there's another alternative, there's another way. I explained to them, like, you go out to the hood, as we know it, you crash, what most happens? People jump in their cars and leave. You go to the track, you got an ambulance there. They're going to get a helicopter there to get you out.
I mean, because going at those speeds and high horsepower, it's always going to be dangerous, but you're making it a point to be as safe as possible. I think it's very important that not only do you have history being behind the wheel and building cars and riding high, but also making your own mistakes that you can correct through other people, so they don't have to go through it. But now, as for when it comes to dealing with Irwindale, like I stated, December 21st was the last day, but on December 11th, there was a council meeting that was held.
Right, exactly.
Okay, now in that council meeting, was it formed to try to stop the closure, or was that to let the community know what's going on? What was that December 11th council meeting about?
Well, I'm going to preface a couple of things. I got into this, and this is where me and him became friends, because some of my friends that are a part of the race committee were there at that meeting. But all the meetings technically are supposed to be available online, so I started reading the minutes. So what piqued my interest out of the September 25th meeting is when Councilman Garcia said, you know, that track's part of the EPA Superfund. A light bulb went on.
Now, for those that don't know, an EPA Superfund consists of what? What does that do?
The EPA was formed in the early 70s because there was all this industry going on all over the United States where people were polluting the land. And they were polluting the air, and they were polluting people's drinking water. A lot of cases of cancer, emphysema, all this weird stuff, people getting all these weird illnesses as a result of them not knowing what's in the ground or in the water they're drinking.
Sure. So the EPA pretty much is an organization that holds everybody to the same standard in terms of emissions, toxic waste, biohazard, things like that.
Exactly.
You have to follow these certain guidelines.
Yeah, and that's at the federal level.
Okay.
So they started hitting a lot of these places really hard in the 80s. So what we were able to ascertain, and believe me, I've spent over 80 hours on the internet on this. There's 3 Superfund sites just west of the track. There's a big blob that goes from Azusa all the way down in the Baldwin Park. And then you got Santa Fe Dam in the middle. And I got to thinking, I'm like, I wonder if I can, and something that car guys don't want to hear about environmental laws, right?
Right, because that holds a lot of us back.
Exactly, right. We hate CARB, all this other stuff. So I said, maybe if I just flip the script back on, maybe if I use environmental laws to save the track. Because starting from 1969, when it's a landfill under New Way, Waste Management, up until 1999, technically it was a landfill. And he put me together with some OGs that lived out that way, that actually saw what was going on. And the thing of it was, as I'm going through all the inspection reports from the county over the years, a lot of this stuff was not documented, including a tire fire that burned for 30 days.
Okay, so you're saying a lot right now. So you're saying that Irwindale Speedway, as we know it, underneath it, there was a landfill.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that means there's tires and car parts.
There's
and
tires.
Whole cars under there.
Whole tire
toxic
parts.
waste.
There's chroming stuff underneath there. There's
And there was chrome shops out there in SGV.
There's asbestos from houses, paint, batteries, every kind of chemical it's underneath that place.
Because for a while, from 1969 to the mid 70s, the landfill part was pretty much unregulated. And then all these new regulations came in.
Oh, because we have space. Let's just throw
And that's
stuff
what
in it.
people, and that's what people are doing, because even further back this is what's been happening in Irwindale. Like, it's a rich city for being such a tiny town. There's only 1,500 residents. It's only 7-8 square miles, the whole town.
Yeah.
But that town generates $200 million in revenue a year. And what was going on earlier with the land was they had these earlier mines from the early 1900s eventually closed, like what we know as Irwindale Speedway closed in about 1959, right? But I do have documents, government documents, to back up my assertions. And all the reports shows things that this guy having drums of chemicals and stuff on the property that are not supposed to be there. He would just tell the inspector, oh, that belongs to this guy over here, or this belongs, it's not supposed to be on the property. And then I kept going like, oh, from the track was designated from a landfill in 99 when it first opened, so it became a racetrack. Lo and behold, there's one document.
That says a lot, because if you were to just happen to sit down, Google some stuff, and this is all well before the internet even existed.
Exactly.
But you were still able to find newspaper articles, clippings, paperwork, things that is, open for the community.
Right.
In terms of what we can access. It sounds as if maybe if you found that out, they would have had to have known all this already.
But see, that's my point. If you look, the biggest thing is the water. There's a huge aquifer.
Yeah.
Goes from the west end to the east end of the valley. That's the drinking water for the whole SGV, right? This track sits right across from the dam for where that water originates.
Yep.
That landfill and where the track is located, right? What's bothered me is I've looked through the reports from the water board. There's all these different water districts, right? Everybody's signing up. The water's okay. The water's okay. I went back as far as 1968. You have that document now. Saying there was corrosives and everything going into the water as far back as 68, but everybody said everything was all right. And if you read these reports, they're a joke. Usually when there's a violation, okay, don't do this, but here's the corrective action. There's nothing in the records, all that stuff was done. You understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
And this went on from 1969 to 1999 with that land.
Now let's back up really quick.
Right.
Now, you guys met in September,
October.
We were talking online on Facebook.
but you ended up sending him some stuff.
Yes.
Right.
Now, what was it that you found or you came across to where you thought that it should garner his attention?
The toxic waste stuff that was underneath it.
So you also
Knew about it.
Everybody on the board of commissioners for the city of Irwindale, the councilmen, right, are aware of all this. They live there. They grew up there.
Mm-hmm. They
They
even raced
drove
there.
by this stuff. There's some of them even raced at Old Irwindale.
Yes.
You don't realize there's an Old Irwindale.
Yeah.
We're talking about New Irwindale,
Yeah.
right? They're all aware of this stuff. I made calls asking Mayor Barola for a sit down one-on-one, him and Councilman Garcia.
Yeah.
Did anybody call me back? No. I sent things to their planning commission, right?
And some of our partners ran over there physically, brought some
Yeah, the OGs
papers.
did.
They brought the papers too to that.
showing them like here.
Yeah,
Yeah, showing them
And
there. Yeah.
pictures of the big tire fire that was there and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And what was their response?
No response.
No response whatsoever.
Yeah,
And
nothing.
it's been really strange over this last month. We wanted to get insight on how they saved the track on another facility, the one that's dug up across the freeway that you see.
Right.
If you're coming northbound getting off.
Yeah.
We found out IDS bought up like 4 or 5 properties using our tax dollars, Green Initiative money.
IDS?
Yeah.
Ideas.
And they have a BS
And
holding company.
that's the real estate company
That's
that
Right.
Yeah.
They have a BS holding company called Irwindale Industrial LLC. And I've done a lot of investigations company now. What we're fighting against is a $9 billion company that has money from CalPERS.
with the B, 9 billion.
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 They got money
$9 billion.
from Fox Entertainment, Lionsgate Entertainment, Boeing Real Estate, the biggest banks in America, JP Morgan,
City.
the
So
biggest pension fund in the state.
yeah, and so they have interest. This
But
company
I
has
don't think
interest
they're
in-
aware day to day. They're only investors. See, IDS is like what we call a real estate hedge fund.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And how they make their money is they go to companies like, for example, Amazon. They don't want to deal with real estate. They just like, we just want to bring our equipment in and start making money,
Right.
Exactly.
start shipping stuff out. So they go to a company like IDS. This is what I need out of facility. Storage
So
battery system.
it's almost as if IDS does the dirty work in terms of buying the land or whatever.
Right.
And then after that, they can get another company to come in. Hey, it's ready to go.
Yeah.
Right, and
And
they
then
pay them a
after that,
big
they
lease
both
payment on
benefit.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
right.
both benefit.
Now, okay, now let's go back to these council meetings.
Right.
With that, who wanted the Speedway as it was? Who wanted to stay? Because I was told that the community was for it staying, like the residents.
Yes.
I heard that Caltrans, even the police department, because
Yeah.
the police department knows that if the kids, adults, or even just people don't have a place to go to where they can race their cars, have fun, and have a nice outlet, they're going to take it to the streets. And now the police are going to have to deal with takeovers, car crashes, and things like
Well-
that. So the community wanted Irwindale to stay.
Right, correct. Well, I don't want to put any false info. There is a contingent of certain residents that don't want the track there, but I checked through the records. There's a reason why. There was complaints of noise. This goes back to the previous track operator.
Yeah.
Half the complaints could have mitigated if they put a sound walk on Live Oak.
But
Yes.
as far as I knew, most of the time, most of the events that I went to, it usually starts at whatever time in the morning
Right.
or early afternoon. But it usually always cuts off between 9:30 to 10
Yeah,
o'clock.
because I think there was a 10 o'clock curfew. So there is a contingent that don't want it, but a lot of the community does want it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're always going to have that percentage of people that don't want it. They're negative about cars, period. But I think if we sold them on the advantage of, and this is what we've been trying to apprise the community of, is that, okay, look, I know you don't like the car thing, but look, you live here, your daughter lives here, your grandkids live here. If you let them dig up that damn ground, your whole family's going to get sick.
Well, yeah, not only because of whatever might get kicked up into the air,
Yeah,
but
but
it's
the
close to the
water,
water.
Right.
Yeah. And then outside of that, I mean, who has an interest in it in terms of wanting to get rid of it? Because it sounds like they don't care about the people or the history. It's more about money.
Well, that's what it's about. And if you can actually go online, and by the way, you can go on the City of Irwindale website. Any of these meetings are accessible. There's even media files and video for all these different dates and meetings. Like I said, everything I've went through has come directly from their information. If you're going to develop this other than a racetrack, you're going to have to dig all 200 feet across 63 acres out.
Yep.
The problem is if you dig all that out, where's that toxic waste going to go that's down there?
And you said Irwindale since between 55 to the 80s,
Well,
right?
68.
68 until now.
Yeah.
Now, from that,
Yeah.
just with being in California, there's been a lot of earthquakes, which means the
That's
ground is
the other
shaking.
and
So
that's
who knows
the
what's
issue.
already going on underneath
Well,
there?
the big concern we have right now, like we know the grandstands recently were started to be taken apart.
And that
That shouldn't have had. They should have had a destruction permit, but
Yeah.
secretly, the city approved the permit. They didn't even allow public comment on it, which is a violation of the Brown Act, by the way.
So, do you know like a roundabout figure on how much it got sold for, or is that also
Well, this is the
confidential?
other issue: tax records.
Yeah, tax records.
Well, supposedly the track was purchased for $80,800,000.
Mhm.
So the assessment on the taxes, right, is based off the old owner, not the current one.
So I buy something for 20 million,
Right.
I sell it for 800 million.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of the 800 million getting taxed,
Yeah.
which is how it should be
Right.
legally, they're only taxing the 20 million.
Exactly.
Correct. I have the
So now,
documents.
not only is that money, that the difference between the 20 and the 800,
Mhm.
where did the rest of that go? Whose pockets did that money go into? And
Well,
outside of
there's an
that,
ownership issue too, because if the county public assessor seeing IDS owns it, if you go on to public health who does the inspections,
Mhm.
it says the old owner owns it.
Yeah.
The paperwork for this land is a mess.
Yes.
It's all government
And literally-
record. It's all right here.
Yes.
what you did was you were able to look at all the documents and add everything up
Yeah.
to see that
Or
nothing
everything.
adds up.
No.
Exactly. Nothing adds up with that
Yeah.
land. IDS has been buying a lot, like Pac-Man have been buying up properties in SGV. And majority of these lands are previous landfills.
That's what I was saying, to where there's a lot of things that you guys have been talking about that you brought to my attention. I had no idea of what was currently going on, but I didn't really know how deep the history was
Yeah.
with even outside of Irwindale Speedway, but with this property and with the city.
Right. There's
Right.
been an issue with this property. The landfill closed in around 92. They didn't know what to do with it.
Sure.
So what we saw, let's go back to the meeting you talked about, okay, in December, the environmental impact report. Let's talk about that.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
There's stuff in other records that you guys aren't even putting here. There's an issue with tires in there. That there's automotive waste in here. And these are legal documents because why? There's land transactions involved. Right?
And there's money involved.
So then they did a second one that was incomplete.
Yep.
From dated April 21st, 2022. 6 months before the damn track got sold. And I don't know about all the facts of this. I think they figured out that there's toxic waste under there,
Yep.
and
They sold
they know they cannot develop it.
Yeah, they knew if they got too, I mean, it was a nice idea, but if they got too deep into it,
Right.
either literally they wouldn't be able to build and do what they wanted,
Yeah,
or it
because-
would have costed them more to finance the cleanup to get it ready to be able to develop.
Because
it.
that toxic waste cannot stay out here. There's only a few places you can take that stuff, and you're looking.
Getting it over there, and then I
You're
mean,
probably
whether-
talking about 40,000 truckloads.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it took them from 69 to 99 to fill it up. I mean,
Yep.
92 to fill it up.
Decades. Yeah.
So how long do you think it's going to take them to get that stuff out of here?
Right.
And I want you guys to go back and look at the city council meeting. What date was that on in January?
January the 15th. Excuse
Yeah.
me, the 18th.
The start of this year?
Yeah. Okay. It was with regards to the land across the freeway. We were trying to get insight. They were going to put these lithium-ion batteries, storage systems that would catch it on fire right next to the main pumping station for Santa Fe Dam. And the residents are like, you're not listening to us. And the planning commission, it's pushing this fire marshal. Looks like he's paid off up there. IDS has got their people up there, and they're not listening to any other. And the residents are literally were going off on their own city council. They're like, you're not listening to us.
I know how a lot of people, they want to, well, let's just say organizations, corporate, they're trying to get us all to EVs, all electric,
Right,
everything
right,
like
right.
that. You know, it's better for the environment. But those lithium batteries that are in those vehicles,
Your
those
bad-
toxic chemicals that go up, smelling it and getting your clothes, just being around it,
Yeah.
is very harmful. Now, what you're saying is they want to build a facility that houses all of that?
Yeah, at Speedway, Five Speedway, it was going to be 53,000 square feet. See, everybody says, "Oh, this is going to bring jobs," and this is how they qualify for their green credit. Look, most of our facilities, right? We got green yard jostlers, you know, this everything's on batteries, blah blah blah, right? We got solar panels on the roof.
True.
It's a scam.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't make sense. Nobody.
Right, and that's
So-
what I'm saying.
December 21st came and went.
Right,
Speedway's closed down.
right.
Now, with that,
Right.
Typically, there is a little bit of grace period sometime before they can start to drill, dig. But you can remove stuff, most definitely. I heard that immediately they started drilling and digging. They didn't have the permits or the license to do so. Right?
Well, the previous track operator, do you know in certain terms digging that track, you're violating environmental laws. You have to have a permit. When he took the load on, put the forklift attachment, took it like 6x6 square, he broke the law.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't permitted?
No.
No, it's no permits, bro.
He just did it on his own.
Yeah.
And most people do things that are illegal if they believe there's no eyes on them.
Right.
So the fact that the track was closed and everybody did the little celebration and what about their day, they wrote Irwindale Speedway off as it's a loss, it's gone.
Right.
So now, if there's no eyes focusing on us, we can do what we want.
Yeah.
Right.
But there were still eyes on them and they weren't expecting that.
Right. The track's gone. They're taking this out. I'm like, guys, everything that's been taken can be replaced.
Yes.
What I don't want them doing is digging into that damn asphalt on that oval or that parking lot or that drag strip. Because if they do that on my dead father that died last year, on me, I will get all I need and fight until the end. And
why is this company coming in our town, buying up all this land? We don't want them here.
and making it unsafe for us.
Yeah.
And the planning commission wasn't listening at all in any of this. Yeah, they bought paid all these experts to come in and try to bamboozle the city council, number one, and the residents.
If we can avoid it, we don't have to pay for this. We can just slap through some paperwork and keep it going.
Right.
And that's pretty much why you said a lot of the paperwork.
There was no checks and balances when there was obvious violations, and some of the stuff is serious.
Right. And it's almost as if they're doing it like it's business as usual. And then, so then now everything gets passed on.
True.
When you're dealing with big business and big corporations, they can pull a lot of strings.
Right.
You know? But it seems as if there is something going on because it is clear as day and you have the documents to prove it. Look, this never got signed off. This right here should have been a big red flag. And then like time and time again, but yet we're here. So now it's very easy to track back on how is this happening? Because there's so many steps that were missed. So many people weren't doing their job.
And I want to let my brother speak for a minute. So let's bring it up to date to like the month of February.
The city this week was when I raised my hand during the meeting, I asked them, well, the speedway's getting demoed right now. And they said, oh, we issued a permit. My brother right here called them and they never gave him an answer.
They said it fit in, it was in compliance and it fit within the plan, but they didn't give me a specific reason. Right? And usually the way things go in Irwindale is that gets brought to the meeting. Even for a stupid sign in the city of Irwindale, you can look through the records, you have to get approval from the city council. The city council had a secret meeting and approved the permits without notifying the public, which again is violation of the Brown Act.
So with these permits, this is a major construction. This is a major build.
Right.
For somebody just to sign off and nobody know about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It being done literally beneath everybody's nose. You know what I mean? Is there any council members or any board members that are opposed to what's going on?
There's a couple of them that are, but a lot of the pushback is coming from the plan. I don't want to demonize anybody. It seems a lot of the pushback is coming back from the city council. There are a couple very vocal residents. We know who she is.
Yeah, we know.
Right.
We know.
So they're drawing up a diagram for her to explain to her that you let them do anything to that land. You take that asphalt off, you're going to need at least 10 feet of concrete footing minimum. So that means you have to do full site remediation. What that means, you got to dig down the whole 200 feet across the whole 62 or 63 acres. Every grain of dirt out of it.
And the thing is, too, the land behind it is the water table. There's a land behind it.
There's a quarry right there.
Quarry right there.
Right.
That's how far the water table is.
And see, what happens is if they go digging around in there, it can end up affecting the quarry because when the inspectors come out to inspect the quarry, LEA, and they take a water sample, I'm like, hey, what's the stuff your guys water here?
Right.
That's that damn stuff going on next door, right?
So, like, that's a lot. That's a lot being said. Now, with the water, the toxic waste, hazardous material, the EPA, and outside of just the residents, I was made aware that on one of the meetings with the community and the council members, the board members, that a lot of evidence was getting presented to them to where one of the board members got up and ended up having to leave to throw up? Or
Yeah, he had to excuse himself from the meeting and stuff because he didn't feel comfortable. He left.
Was it because of stuff that he wasn't aware of?
Aware of, probably. When the meeting was going, a lot of the city councilmen didn't know what was going on.
But for all this to be going on, that means somebody or some people were aware of what was going on.
Yes.
It is yet to be determined on who that is or who they are.
We know. Eric, I'll let you tell him.
The planning commission.
So somebody that used to be a part of the planning commission, but obviously he's retired and all
Yes.
Right.
was also in the meeting, seeing and hearing what was going on, and that same individual called the current people in the
Working.
seat,
Yeah.
called them out. So it's just open, like there's wrongdoing going on.
Mm-hmm.
So now when it comes to the EPA, because that deals with federal, that deals with the government, they come in, they say, look, you guys can't do anymore until we come in, evaluate the ground or evaluate what's going on for us to give you the okay.
Yep.
So it's almost like nothing can move until it's almost like there's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
But them, technically, they're the big dogs.
So under a normal circumstance with normal land, you wouldn't have to deal with any of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now when the EPA, because the EPA has stepped in, because they've been made aware of what's going on, right? And they said, okay, we need to put a halt to the projects or whatever's going on until we go in and evaluate.
Well, this is the thing. Until they have definitive proof, right, Eric?
Yes.
They cannot do anything, right?
No.
Until they actually move forward, right, Eric?
Exactly.
Is there any new meetings or anything coming up that's scheduled that we all should be aware of?
There is a meeting coming.
There is a city council meeting next week. Anybody wants to attend?
Yes.
We're asking for all boots on the ground now.
Yep. All boots.
If they see 1,000, 2,000 people logging into that meeting, they know there's eyes on them.
Yep.
Now, I'm gonna teach you guys something. We learned how their agenda is there.
Yes.
If you want to make a comment, please don't curse anybody out. Please don't be rude.
Yeah. Don't be rude. Don't be
And you
cursing.
only can do it during the special comment session, but you gotta be quick.
Yeah.
Now, as for everybody watching, as for everybody that is now obviously being made aware, what is it that needs to happen? What is it that you want either us to do or, like
we
you
need,
said,
we need to get the word out. We need to get the word out to the residents. What's going on underneath that track? What's the impact that's going to happen if they do tear this track apart? It's going to hurt the residents around there in the city. Doherty, Baldwin Park, Irwindale, all the local cities. Yep.
And it seems like these regulatory agents that's supposed to be protecting us are not protecting us.
Yeah, they're not protecting
I mean,
the residents.
you know, outside of that, like I don't live in Irwindale, but dealing with car culture and car community, losing something that we prized and that was beneficial for us and kids. I mean, like you said, you know, growing up, you had, you know, an uncle or father,
In a
that
day,
neighbor, you know,
right.
that brought you in.
Right.
But the people of the community dealing with hazardous waste, you know, going airborne, dealing with their water supply.
Yeah.
This is major, especially when you're dealing with residential communities, when you're dealing with the environments, and when you're dealing with the government agencies.
Yeah.
Well, if they go ahead with their plan, it comes out the water ends up polluted. Duarte, Azusa, El Monte, all these different communities can take legal recourse against Irwindale. If you move forward this and people start getting sick, it's not if, but when there will be litigation.
And the thing is, not too far from here, about 4 miles from where Irwindale Speedway is at, guess what's there? City of Hope Cancer Research. And the City of Hope finds out what's going on. About
They're
this.
pulling water out of them wells for their people in their cancer facility.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems as if there's a lot of big money being moved around and big money at play. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
And the city, the county, everybody is not doing their job what it says in the book.
And this goes back, I said, decades, man.
Yeah.
It's not just something that came up right now.
Evidence is being shown to you, and this is where you guys live, where you guys call home.
Yeah.
Why are you letting this happen?
We just found out from one of our members, his brother used to work at the racetrack. He got cancer from there.
Because the methane monitor is in a landfill.
Yep.
They have methane monitors on the property.
Yep.
And the thing, if you look through the records, there were violations from even when it was a racetrack that certain methane monitors were not working. The inspection from November, low-level explosive gas.
Yep.
We're talking about the buildings on site, and nothing was ever said.
It feels as if this company that bought Irwindale has been doing it from place to place to place, but it seems almost as if this is the first time people like yourselves have actually said, wait a minute, hold on, and you did your own private investigation because everything else, even if there was wrongdoing, it's been getting pushed through.
Right.
But now this is the first time that residents, citizens, regular everyday people have put a stop to this. But we have to bring awareness. We have to get the word out.
Yes.
We have to show up to the meetings.
Yeah.
And in a sense, the community, not only, car culture, the car community, but the residents. But when there is wrongdoing and when some stuff is questionable, we need to band together to go against the...
We need a ban as a racing community. A racing community from different cities that come from San Diego, from San Francisco, all the way down to here. It's a family racing community that we all need together. This is the last track in Southern California that's going to get destroyed. It's a landmark.
Because we have Fontana, but that's gone.
Yeah, we had Fontana, right? I was at one of the last Volkswagen races at OCIR. I'm tilting my age, like I said. But it seems, it just sucks because...
We're just getting picked apart. One by one.
And it was sad, like he was driving, Sacramento closed, right?
Right.
And he was driving down the main drag strip. There was no development going on there. It was just trailers parked on both sides, just sitting there, semi-trailers on both sides of the drag strip. And he's like, man, this is so sad, man. And I love Bubba because, like,
almost like a parking lot, almost?
Yeah, basically, yeah. And it's like, it was sad,
Yeah.
right?
It's just that Irwindale is very special in a sense of, you have different tracks, whether it be the drag strip, the racetrack,
The oval.
yeah, and then you also have
the pit.
the burnout pit, but then you also have the huge parking lot to throw
Right.
shows,
Yeah.
have vendors,
Swap
and
meets.
it's literally the best of, because you can go to another track and you'll get this, but you're missing out on this. You always get one
They
thing.
had-
Irwindale had everything. Okay, so now let's just say, so moving forward, so there's another meeting coming up.
It's next Wednesday.
And that's on February 12th, right?
February 12th.
Right. And the thing of it is, when you go in there, just be respectful, number one.
Yep.
And the thing is, the time to speak, because I didn't know this the first time I went here, is during the special comment section. Because on Zoom, you can hit a button and put your hand up.
Yep.
And you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
So, hey, listen, if you guys can, please not only like and subscribe to help the algorithm to get this video out, but share this video.
Please.
Let's get the word out, because at the end of the day, these two individuals right here are the ones that got it started. I know they both have a lot of help and they have people backing them.
Yep.
But like they said earlier, all of this started with just what can we do to save Irwindale, and then everything started coming up.
We need you guys to back us up before this place goes away. Let's try to fight this any way we can.
Make sure that the auto culture still has a legacy in SoCal.
Pretty much signing out. Big Daniel Import Life. Telling you guys not only to treat each other good, do good, and let's get this track saved. Let's save Irwindale Speedway. Once again, if you can let everybody know about the next meeting, how to find it, what to do.
It will be February 12th at 6:30 p.m. Irwindale City Council meeting. You can do it on Zoom. You can log into their meeting. Please be respectful and kind to them.
Let's not talk about it. Let's be about it.
Exactly.
All right, Eric Stiles, Kenneth Whitfield, I appreciate you guys so much once again for coming out, getting the word out to get rid of this, which looks like a corrupt company, trying to take over for greed, not caring about the greater good, but to also bring the community together to get this done. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. As for you guys, please make sure to like, subscribe, share this video. Make a comment. Any and every comment, I always respond back. Let's get in the algorithm and let's spread the word. We all need to know about this, because before these guys contacted me, I had no idea what was going on. And now, you guys do. All right, you guys, stay blessed. Let's save Irwindale Speedway.